Hello. This is the fifth episode of the Gabriel podcast. Today, my guest is Benjie here. He was my basketball coach back in when we were in middle school in John Muir Elementary. If you guys know, it was back when it was me, Jeremiah, Giovanni, Reggie, John. We're back in the John Muir Middle School team, and here's our coach from back then. Hello, Benjie.
What's up, Gabe? Man, it's crazy to be kind of reliving. What was that like? I don't know, almost 15 years ago. I don't know, something crazy, right?
Yeah,
14 years when it started.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
been a long time.
hmm
Yeah,
and
thank.
you guys were the class that started the middle school.
Yeah, we were
Yeah,
actually the first class. Yeah, of that whole like Muir Middle School era. So, our whole class was kind of just like the guinea pig. With
hmm
all the whole just trying to the teachers trying to find kind of their rhythm with teaching like a middle school curriculum and uh, but I think it was a very special experience, just having such a close knit group versus like all these other larger schools. It was a different experience, but honestly, to me at least, it was quite a enjoyable journey, at least for me.
there is something though. There really is something about Muir and really small school, right? And you're right, like you guys seem really close knit. Even with the teachers, you guys seem like you had a more personal experience with the teachers. And yeah, there's something special about your group and the groups that came after that. Um, I, Viewers is special. When I was in middle school, I went to Hughes, right,
Mm-hmm.
uptown in Long Beach, and it's a big school, right? But um, Muir is a special place, and just being there all these years, just coaching you, coaching the kids through there, you can you can feel it. It's really special.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really grateful that they chose to go that path of opening up that middle school, and I've had great memories over there, especially with the teachers. That with such a smaller size, these teachers get to actually like really know you, and they get to know like you know your weaknesses, your strengths, and like your small tendencies, so that they can just like help you, like typically just better, and so that was always like really nice. Uh,
Right, right.
yeah,
Some of do you remember Miss Fennell, Miss Collins?
yeah, yeah. Those were
They're awesome.
yeah, those were our first two teachers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you still, or how long has it been since you've been there, or like how? What's your timeline with that?
Well, um, let's see. Well, this past year, I mean, there weren't any sports. I mean, kids weren't even at school, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the year before that, my nephew started coaching the volleyball team. I ended up even picking up the volleyball team
Mm.
a few years back.
Oh.
Um, but I probably stopped coaching basketball maybe 5 years ago over there, and then just it was just doing volleyball. Yeah, one of my buddies actually um, started coaching basketball. Just um, just the issue with time and making the commute back down to Long Beach from work was getting a little tough. So um, I mean, I can if it can be as easy and I can just go back and keep coaching and that's all I had to do in life, that'd be awesome. You know? Yeah.
Yeah. So how many years did you get to coach basketball over there? I
I think we started when did you finish fifth grade? So I think it was like around 2006, 2007 when we first started over there, maybe.
probably I graduated high
Um,
school 14, 10. Uh, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
I,
7.
I started. 2007, and then up until then, I kept it going. I want to say it was a good 11-year run, 12 years. Yeah, 11 years with basketball and volleyball there. And then
Really?
when you guys started, since you weren't official middle school yet, we were playing park leagues, or we were playing against the park at Silverado, and we didn't even have a gym to use. We were using like small living room size courts on the blacktop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
true.
they were like 7.5 foot courts. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, the one on the school grounds, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right.
That was so hilarious because yeah, me and the guys would play on those courts like every lunch, and then like we would have our own kind of like like oh we're good at this or like we're good at that, and then we put ourselves into like a real court and it's just like wait what. Like none of us could shoot like anything, and like yeah, that was a adjustment for us because yeah, that obviously like that's just what we grew up playing on. So yeah.
Was that your first organized basketball? Like first time getting a jersey, first time having a coach,
Oh
sixth
yeah,
grade?
yeah. That
Yeah.
at least hmm. Yeah, I think so. At least in like at least in basketball. Yeah, I know I played a little bit of like football. I don't know, like a little bit before, maybe like in fifth grade, maybe.
Hmm.
But yeah, basketball that was definitely the first time I've ever suited up for anything, and um, yeah, I mean back then I was a nervous wreck, so like
Yeah.
so pretty much like every time like it was such a interesting experience. Every time I would like step into the court, I would just you know it's just such a surreal feeling. I still remember like stepping on the court, like playing on that court, like with a crowd, like
Yeah.
it's so different like from when you're like on the bench and you're like watching the game. It's just like versus like when you're actually playing because it's just like it's so different at least from like how it felt like playing on that court.
Yeah, I'm sure things start to move a lot faster, right? Like that moment you start playing your first games. The game
Yeah.
is not as slow as when you're watching it. It just so
Yeah.
many things are happening all at once.
Yeah,
You're just trying to
honestly,
figure it all out.
on it, sometimes it felt, yeah, sometimes it feels like you're drowning almost, like in like it feels like you should like that you should be doing like a lot of things, like but then like when the game time comes, like you said, like it moves so fast and like in a blink of an eye, like so many things can go wrong. It's just like it's so interesting, but I mean that's what's really cool about it. Being able to like it's a challenge that if you're able to perform there, like there's something like rewarding about it, I think. So that's basketball, I guess.
And you know what? Like for you and a lot of kids that go to Muir, for a lot of them, a large majority of them, um, either if it's volleyball or basketball, it's their first time playing organized sports at Muir, compared to some of the schools on the east side or schools on the north side where they played AAU or some kind of rec league ball growing up, or some kind of club ball, right? So they have experience. But over like on the west side, a lot of you kids, you guys were just playing for the first time, and and I appreciate I had so much appreciation for that, and that I kind of loved it. Like I got you guys raw. Like, I got these raw talent, these kids that it's just you've touched a basketball during recess, but it's different when you come to practice and you play a game, right? And it's really cool starting from the ground up, teaching you guys the fundamentals, things like that. You know, oh, I kind of miss that. You know,
Yeah, definitely. Like, some of the things that you taught us, I still, it's funny. Like, I still think about. Like, Like definitely like when you're training us like defense and like the stances you would take and like what's the best way to like you know navigate that. Trying to like work on our shots or like um, you know, and even just like regular like team play, like all that stuff. Like I still like think about as I play still. So that's really cool. I think it's traveled.
Yeah, yeah. I
Uh,
was I was learning along with you guys. I was like what 19 when I first started. So like I haven't before that I wasn't studying basketball the way I did when I realized I had a responsibility of getting having to teach 15 boys. So like I had to up my game. So with you guys I was nervous too from the beginning. But I mean, I can only imagine for you guys stepping on the court for the first time and then me hopefully I wasn't verbally abusing you guys, but I know I would yell at you guys and give you a hard time sometimes. I know that could be. I remember when I was a kid, I was nervous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I no, it was funny because I do remember a couple of those moments where, yeah, we were just. I mean, like, yeah, things might not have been going well in practice, and there was a couple times, but that you kind of, um, I mean, there was some frustration there, but like, that's part of it. I think. I think that the one thing that I always had, I remembered like one of the things that we did a lot was like kind of like run certain plays, right? And
hmm
I think that like this is like the thing I've always had in my mind when I was always like I was always so confused. like like it was because like I knew what to do on the on the plays like you know it would make sense like what I had to do, but then like I never understood like as like that kid like I never understood like what the point of it was. Like I knew where to run, like I knew where to like what the play looks like, but I didn't know like what was the point, I guess. And I guess like the point of every one of those plays is to like find an open like some sort of like advantage or like some sort of like you know I don't know like just some sort of advantage on the defense so that like you can like have a better percentage shot, I think, right? So
Yeah.
as a kid I just never understood that. So then like I guess like that's why the plays like for me at least when I saw them like that's why like the plays always like ran like weren't successful because I don't think we like I know the other guys too like didn't understand like what the point of us like doing the plays were. Like I don't think we like knew like hey like the point of these plays is like to get yourself open and like there's many options. I think that was the confusing part. Like there was like a guy running here and he's supposed to go here. There's a guy supposed to come in here and like it all sounds like good options, but like I think we missed the point of like, hey, sometimes like you're not gonna work out, but that other guy's gonna work. So that's why like that play like the ball should go that way and not you. But
hmm
I
hmm
think like that was the thing that like bypassed me and like a lot of the other guys, because like in lunch like all we would do is just like just give it to somebody and then like we'll make something happen kind of
Just
thing.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Go, Kobe, go. Go, Jordan, go. Yeah. No, you know what? Like those, your guys, since you guys were the first class, this was like my first years. I think I remember thinking, um, like, all right, things I'm thinking of maybe too intricate. Maybe I have to bring it down because I was probably bringing like high school plays at first, and I had to realize that I've got to bring it a couple notches back and teach you guys the fundamentals. And yeah, over the years, I had to learn of telling the kids why they're doing certain things, you know, to get a better understanding instead of saying, go here, go there, and just do this and that. I mean, because eventually what you want to teach the kids is how to think for themselves, right? Instead of just following the directions. But if I can tell them why they're doing certain things, then they can just eventually le- do things for the, just do things for themselves, right? Yeah, and figure it out even without me yelling from the sideline because they're like, well, this option is going to work out better because of the pace of the game, the flow of the game, things like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Definitely. That was just the one thing that was like one thing I definitely just had to like say because like I don't know, for some reason I've had that thought in my head like all these years. like I just like, okay, like if there was like some way to like tell Benji like what I thought so that maybe like I wouldn't look so like dumb like on the court, like not knowing like what the heck I'm doing, like, yeah.
what's funny though? I I remember like thinking I trusted you and John probably the most. Like I really thought things didn't go past you when I said stuff.
Oh,
Like I
really?
really trust. Yeah, I thought you guys were one of the brighter ones on the team. I mean, that's not. I'm not like knocking any of the other guys. I really feel like that was that first group was really fun. Like we had Kyle, Jeremiah, John, Reggie, the shooter. Right? Like, oh, Reggie could bail us out from deep or anything. Kyle with his athleticism and his ball handling. John and you with your guys' IQ and ball handling. And then Jeremiah, I thought he was a smart guy too. I always put him on high post because I felt like he had good vision and he could just attack well.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's true. What Jeremiah's actually, grown to be. Like he's more of like he can like slash really well, or like
Mm.
not slash, but what is it? He can just like drive to the rim, like, and like just make stuff happen. Like even now, like he's pretty it's pretty good like that.
That's cool.
You know,
That'd be cool if we can. I want to just. We should all just play one day once like everything is available. We should have a reunion with like some of the classes and just play.
yes, I would love that. I definitely I think they'd all love that, honestly. Do you know? I don't know. Do you remember Alex Fuji? Was he ever on the basketball team?
Yeah.
Alex Fuji. No.
See a pic. It sounds familiar, but I'd have to see. Not a recent picture. I'd have to see like a middle school
A middle
picture of
school.
him. You don't show me like social media now because I'm gonna have no clue.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Like he was in the year. He was the year right after me. I'm not sure if he played for
Mm.
basketball though. Yeah. But yeah, he's one of the guys that we kind of like. He's very like, cause we still play at Silverado. Pretty much like yeah, he's like one of my basketball partners. But yeah, Reggie, Jeremiah, like John, like we just played basketball like last week or something, or like actually, yeah, last week or something. So we're still kind of active. And yeah, you know what? One of the craziest thing is like, okay, like I wanted to, okay, I just wanted to see like how, like I wanted a 1v1 you, Benji. Like I want to see like I wanted to challenge you because like, okay, look, because like okay, because for some reason like I'm very I'm just like, because me and Alex, like the guy, we just play like 1v1s all the time. And like whenever it comes to
Mhm.
like playing ball with the other guys, like it's very interesting, like the types of players like they've kind of like grown up to. Reggie's
Mm.
Reggie's kind of like become like kind of like what you mentioned, like, but he's not really like a true shooter. Like if I were to describe Reggie,
Mhm.
like he's more of like a, I don't know, he's like a mid-range, like his mid-range is
Really?
insane. Like it's actually like insane. Like he goes up to like any, like to the keys or to the free throw lines, and like he just makes these shots like easy, and then yeah, he's a good finisher too. So like I don't know, like That's his kind of game. He's not like a 3 point like demon or anything like that.
He
So
turned into Carmelo
yeah,
all of a sudden.
yeah. No, that's Reggie. He's got good dribbles. Like he's fast. It's really hard to guard him sometimes because, like I said, like he just pulls up from mid range and it's just like automatic sometimes.
Hmm. That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah,
Look at you guys evolve. That's cool.
yeah, and then like I said, Jeremiah, John. John actually grew to be the tallest one from all of us.
Really?
Yeah, so he's the tallest one, I think, but he's not like super tall. But I mean, like, he's like 5. I forgot what his height is. Like 5'10" maybe.
He's definitely taller than me. Because he was small, right?
Yeah, no, he
So
he definitely had the greatest growth spurt from us.
that's cool.
So he's kind of like our center. He's kind of like,
Oh man.
yeah, he's definitely the tallest one. But he's pretty slow though.
That's funny because like one of like my good buddies so we like our group we grew up playing basketball together and like he was always the tallest one but like he always blames us that his handles could have been better if he didn't hang out with us because he was always designated center, right? And so it's everyone else's fault. Yeah, but I mean he's really good, but he wishes like he had better handles. He's 6 feet, and he's like, damn, I could have been a PBA point guard if it wasn't for you guys.
That's funny because John started out as a point guard actually.
He did, yeah. So
Yeah.
he's Anthony. He's your Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I mean, like if like honestly, like if he just kind of like, I don't know, like if he just moved more and like actually like kind of like I don't know like played basketball more, like he'd definitely be a lot more like agile, like down there in the post. But like where he's
So
at, um,
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
oh no, it's just that like he kind of just plays like basketball sometimes, so it's just like he's had uh so his handling could be better, stamina, speed, but like when it comes to like he has good footwork like down there in the post, like like me trying to guard him like down there in the post, it's just like he always has that hook shot, like he has a bunch of like fakes like every time, and it's just like so annoying. I'm just like I'm like dancing and I'm just tripping up like down there in the post because like he's just making me look like a fool.
Is he crafty down there?
He's
Kind of
crafty.
got tricks.
He's got
Yeah,
tricks. I'm known as like one of the better defenders in the group,
yeah.
and it's just like trying to predict what he's gonna do. It's like it's so impossible. Like it's like plus that height advantage. It's like you want to like block the shot, but it's just like you can't. You can't because he's gonna fake. He's gonna fake every time, and
Yeah.
it's annoying to guard. So yeah, that's John.
Did
Yeah.
John did John play tennis throughout high school? He stopped playing basketball and then he played tennis. Is that what happened?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he
Yeah.
did play tennis in high school. I think that was his
Hmm.
thing. As well as
Maybe.
Jeremiah too, actually.
Oh, Jeremiah at Cam's.
Yeah, his thing was like tennis
Yeah.
for there too.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The only one that
That's cool.
actually continued playing basketball a little bit was actually Reggie in high school. Like at least in some sort of like team, but he wasn't part of
Yeah.
like he wasn't part of the team, but like the basketball team at Poly, but he was like I don't know, there was like a class of like basketball or something where he like trained like with a bunch of the other guys and stuff like that. But yeah, he got pretty good in like high school too. Yeah.
So, well, I'm glad you guys still get together to play the sport. You know,
Yeah,
it's really
no,
cool.
yeah, it's honestly like I have a bunch of like fun with it because like I don't know, like I love basketball, like I just love like I don't know, like I have a lot of fun with it. Like I have to say, like I'm like a very like unconventional like player when it comes to like shot creation. Like maybe I'm like a shot creator, where it
Yeah.
comes to like, yeah, it's just like I like to have like a lot of fun with the game, so it's just like I throw up some weird like if you saw me play, I always say like, oh man, if Benji saw me play, like he would be so disappointed.
Oh
Like
man.
like kind of like he's like, oh my god, like why did he take that shot, or like why did he do this? I'm like, oh man, it's just yeah. I just do some crazy stuff out there on the court sometimes. So it's just yeah. But yeah,
How
like
about your brother? Does he play with you guys?
yeah. Justin actually, I actually told Justin that I would have you on as a guest on the podcast today, and
Yeah.
he was like, and then I asked him, oh, like, did you want to like tell him anything or like say anything to Benji, and he was just like, his thing was, um, like I think his words were like, did he, do you think I was like sorry, or something like that? Because he was like, he never started me or something. He's
Who
like,
did I? No, that's not possible because look who I had in front of Justin at the time. I had Sulu and I like Soroy, right? And I had um uh what's his name? God, I went blank. Is it John?
yeah, he did
Uh,
mention somebody got injured or something like that.
yeah. No, but uh Justin was like my Lou Williams, man. My go-to six man.
you
Like
know,
get the
he,
ball in his hands and make something happen.
he was like, why you gotta be the sixth man? Yeah, no, it's funny. Justin, he actually grew up to be a true point guard, I would say. Like
Yeah.
he became out of everybody in the group, like he became like the person where it's like, one, he's able to see these like, he's able to make these like insane accurate passes. He's always looking for passes. Like he's like the perfect to match up with any kind of like roller. Like he has like a really like good IQ with stuff like that. Like when it comes to like, playmaking, like whenever we're playing together, he's actually the one like always scolding me, and like we're always kind of like gold. Like he's actually the one that's like, me and him kind of go back and forth a lot of the times, because like, like he likes to see like a lot of pick and rolls. Like that's his thing. Like he wants me to
Mm.
pick and he wants me to roll, and every single time, and I'm like, for me, like sometimes I'm more of a ball dominant like, kind of like player. So then it's just like we clash sometimes, and so that's kind of our dynamic.
So
Um,
so you got Chris Paul and James Harden on the same team? Is that what's going on there?
pretty much, pretty much, and that's why we kind of that's why we're always kind of like on separate teams. Is how we've played it.
Yeah.
But his favorite partner honestly would have to be John. Like that point guard center combo. Like it's his dream. So, yeah,
That's cool.
yeah,
And on my way home, I was listening to talk radio, right? So the Lakers are playing the Nets right now,
right.
and then they brought up kind of what you're talking about. You guys play a lot of one-on-ones. So they're talking about like who's the in your opinion, who's the best one-on-one player of all time? Because like today you got Kyrie and James Harden coming into Staples Center, so it was just a thing they brought up, a topic they brought up. You got a Jordan, you got Kobe, you got Kyrie, you got Harden. Like who comes to mind?
Oh man, one on one, huh? I don't know. I would go with Kobe. What would you say?
I mean, yeah, I love Kobe, but not to be biased. I was thinking, would it count? Like, I never thought about this. I thought about this today. I was like, what about Shaq? If it's one on one, he never gets, so he won't ever get doubled, right?
Right.
Like, if he can just, if the game just basically starts like underneath the free throw line, can he just be a dominant one on? Can he be the best one-on-one player of all time? The argument would be like, well, he can't create his own shot and get to the block, right? He would just.
True.
But I was like, if there's no double team, is that technically him being the greatest one-on-one player? I don't know. Just something I thought of.
You know, it was funny
But
because
yeah, I mean,
I was
yeah,
thinking like Shaq too, but like when you brought up that list of players, I was just like, okay, like he didn't put Shaq, so I'm not gonna say Shaq, but like that would be interesting.
yeah.
I mean, wait, why did you mention like it has to be like below the free throw line?
Because when I'm I mean like when you play one-on-one, you check up the ball up on
Oh,
top of the key,
true,
right?
true. Okay.
So is Shaq gonna back you down from the 3-point line and get a 5 second call violation, or we don't have 5 second call violation because we're just playing park ball, right?
True.
Like, yeah. So and I mean, young Shaq had handles. He could face you up. It was okay handles, right? He could run a full court. He could run a break.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but I never really ever hear Shaq in the conversation of greatest one-on-one player. You know,
True. So you
so
wouldn't think like I didn't see too much of like Shaq like cause so like do you think anyone would be able to like cross him up? No. Like think of like Kyrie Irving versus Shaq.
oh yeah, totally. Yeah, they'll be able to cross them up. You can get by Shaq just fine. I'm just one like it's Shaq. If you miss, Shaq gets that rebound, right? And like,
True.
what are you gonna do eventually once he gets the ball on offense? Because
Yeah,
if Shaq
that's
decides, okay, I'm gonna give you space, and then it gains up to 11, you might hit 7, 8 jump shots in a row. But if you miss that ninth one, and he gets the rebound, and he's just posting up one of these guards, what are you gonna do? I don't know.
true. I mean, yeah, he's just gonna score on you every single time, huh? Pretty much.
So yeah, I mean, because like in real games, the way to get the ball out of his hands is to bring a double team or foul him, right? Oh, yeah, so um, but there's no double teams in one-on-one, so
That's true. Yeah, that's a
it's
good point.
interesting.
That's a good point. I'm gonna bring it
Hmm.
up to the other guys and I'm gonna ask them what they think. It'll be an interesting
Yeah,
conversation.
yeah. You let me know. Yeah,
um,
I don't know why I've never thought about it in the past because every time I think of one-on-one, I think of like some of the best wings and guards, from even Iverson, to Kobe, Jordan, the obvious ones. Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Okay. You know what's a one question I guess that I have? Like, okay, like, how did you get into basketball? Like, what's your history with like basketball? Like starting from like maybe like even when you're like all the way to like a kid. Like, where did your love for basketball come from?
Um,
Kind of
let's
history of
see.
Benji here.
Yeah, being growing up in the 90s. I'm an 80s baby, but grew up in the 90s. Like the the Jordan phenomenon was basically it, right? You going from 91 to 98 of just straight Bulls championships, right? I mean, I was a Laker fan because like I was born into it. Like parents, big Laker fans, Magic, Kareem, right? But like Jordan just mesmerized me as a kid, same way like Kobe and LeBron did to the next generation. And I think that's where so it's the same thing, going out to the park or going out in front and there's a trash can and you just count down 3, 2, 1 with the fadeaway, like
Yeah.
it starts with that and it's you get so intrigued by just how like the way I saw Jordan play the game, like it was just like I was too young to understand what poetry is, but now looking back at it, it's like he played it like poetry, and so you just want to emulate that when you get to recess. You want to get to school early, get some shots up. You want to stay in school late. Um, so it was that, and I was just a big. I love sports as a kid, and um, yeah, I just grew up loving to play, and like we brought up earlier, like a lot of the kids on the west side, right? They didn't grow up having the resources and access to play organized sports. I didn't play organized sports till high school. Like even in middle school, um I didn't even play um on the teams at Hughes, right? I was too shy. I was too scared to go try out, but I knew I loved it, and I was told myself like I bet I'm the best one, but I was too scared. I was too scared to go play,
Uh-huh.
right? But I don't know. I guess yeah, it kind of just started from there. Just always playing um, with friends at the park, or same way you guys did during recess or during lunch. And then when it got to high school, then it kind of just picked up from there. And I wanted to just be involved in every aspect of every sport. Like I even just going on the internet and knowing everyone's stats and knowing all their whole Wikipedia history, like just I was a nerd for like the NBA and the NFL, even the MLB. I was just a sucker for all that. Um, and it felt I don't know when the opportunity came when I was at Cal State Long Beach. Um, I think Fariza, Coach Pete, who coached the volleyball team initially when I started,
Mhm.
she found an ad at Cal State Long Beach, I think, and she's like, "Hey, they need a volleyball coach, and it also says they need a basketball coach." So she asked me, and then that's kind of how it started over there.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, ball is life, even during but I haven't even shot a ball in like I don't know over a year since quarantine started.
Oh, okay.
Like they've either taken down rims at the park or they've put like uh um the clubs the steering wheel clubs on top of a basket
Oh, really?
so you can't shoot into it. It's
Oh
like
my god. Yeah, that was the same thing that they did over here for like a really long time, and yeah, me and the other guys like didn't get to play for like months, like, a good time. They actually recently put back at least the Silverado gyms, not Silverado gym, the Silverado Parks rims and some of
okay.
the other recent ones, so we got to play a little bit. Yeah, but that's such an interesting story because I don't think any of us like has heard that story of like, well, how you got how you started like coaching, and like how did you even like get that position like back then. So that's really cool. What you mentioned in middle school like you were too shy. Like, what was there something that changed in high school that got you to like join that team? Was it just like more confidence over time?
the so I was still too shy to actually try out, and I was still too scared. The way I got on the team, um, one of my buddies, he was on the basketball team. It's crazy. I was still friends with like all the guys on the basketball team, but I was just too scared to because like they like basketball, I love basketball, but I was still too scared to actually try out. So I went to practice with one of my buddies, and the coach goes, I'm sitting watching them, like I'm doing my homework and I'm watching them practice. Coach goes, "Do you play basketball?" I'm like, "Yeah," like really shy. Wait, he goes, "You play basketball?" And I'm just there, like, "Yeah, what's up?" Shrink in my seat. And he's like, "All right, come here," and he gives me the ball. He sets me up at the top of the 3-point line. He's like, "I'll give you two shots. If you make one shot, you're on the team." What? So I shoot it. I make the first one, and he's like, "All right, tomorrow, bring your bring your gym shorts and shoes. And I was like, oh shit, okay. And that's where it started. And from then, it's just like, I love this thing. I love the organized ball. I love, yeah.
That
And I got to see it from a different aspect of like, from the inside when you have structure, you know? So yeah, this structure of organized ball was great. You know? So I wish I got into it a lot earlier. Yeah, and I think my parents, um, I don't think they really put that at priority. I mean, they love sports and they love that I loved it and loved playing it, but I don't think it crossed their mind the same as, oh, we need to put Benji into park league or something like that. I wish they did, but no.
yeah, that's a super cool story about the coach and like you making it. I mean, were were you like a really good shooter? Like that you knew you were gonna make those two shots like when you were, like lining it up?
I would tell myself I was, but yeah, I think I was. I think I knew I was, but at the same time, I'm sure when I was shooting that shot, I was nervous as hell and shaking probably, and I probably surprised myself that I probably made it. Yeah, confidence level, like, is like my confidence level in like, me shooting. What is like the same confidence you have when you're taking a shower singing, like you think you're the best singer, or driving a car. It was kind of like that. And when I made it, I was like, oh shit, I made it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
But
super cool. Do you think like your confidence like how did your like confidence like I guess like playing like in organized ball and like being in like that team environment like did that like affect your confidence in any way?
uh, definitely, yeah. Just having someone having someone ride you like a coach, like not baby you through the way, like go ahead taking criticism for like the first time, like structured criticism, right? Um, and yeah, the structure it definitely gave confidence, and even confidence enough to be out on the floor with you guys just to coach you, to feel like I actually know what I'm talking about, even though like I was saying earlier, I was still learning. I was still in the process of learning how to coach, how to communicate with you guys, you know. And yeah, so that's probably one of the biggest things I had to learn too was communication. Yeah, because same way I had a fear of going to tryouts, like public speaking. It felt like public speaking when, even though like you guys, why was I scared of talking to 15 10 year olds? You know,
Yeah.
like I was nervous the first day talking to you guys. Yeah, but for sure, being able to have that experience gave me some more confidence.
Yeah, no, I mean I understand like the whole like nervousness thing. I mean I feel that, that anxiety like anxiety, nervousness like I feel that like all the time in plenty of different situations. So I mean even with kids like I mean sometimes the funny thing about anxiety is like it's like when you say it out loud, it seems ridiculous and like silly that like this would ever cause you like any sort of like distress. But it's like when you feel it, it's just like it's another thing. It's just like it just takes
Hmm.
over you. But yeah, I feel that. What did you enter Cal State Long Beach as like as a major? Because like you mentioned how like Coach P had known you. Like were you like how did that like happen?
Um, let's see. Well, no, my major was kinesiology,
Oh, okay.
kinesiology and exercise science. Um, Coach P, Fariza, her major was in business. But we've been dating since high school,
Mm.
so So yeah,
Oh, okay, got it.
first first option was me, I guess.
I
Yeah,
see.
because we both had a love for. We both knew how much we loved our sports, and so it would if I found the ad, it would have been obvious to ask her to coach the volleyball team. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Oh man. Okay, so I know that like our team, our first team, like we didn't score very well, like in terms of records wise.
hmm
I think we lost every game actually that season. Like I don't know.
Uh, no, okay, wait. Our park leagues, we were like we were killing our park leagues. Your sixth and seventh grade year,
Uh
we
huh.
were killing the park leagues.
Wait, really?
And no, when I say killing, it's funny because there's only five scheduled games or something like that. So it's like we had like a 4-1 record or a 3-2 record. We were winning, but when we got to your guys' eighth grade and we actually started playing middle school teams,
Mm.
I think that's the year we went winless. We might have won one. I- I've got
I
it.
I honestly don't think we won. Did we? Maybe one forfeit. I think we might have got one forfeit. Maybe. Um.
Maybe. Yeah.
Wow. We actually.
I know once we entered middle school, it got a lot tougher. The
Mm-hmm.
kids got bigger. They were more experienced. Um, uh, yeah, like I remember we went into Franklin Middle School gym to play Franklin, and they had like two 6-footers, and our tallest guy was Leonard and Jesse. Oh, I love Leonard, by the way. Like I remember Leonard in middle. I don't know if you remember Leonard, but Leonard was a dog. That dude was scrappy,
Yeah.
and I could, yeah,
And no,
I know it was awesome too.
yeah, Leonard. We actually, yeah, he went to Poly too. So I got to see him up to then. I haven't talked to him since then. So I wonder what he's doing, but he might be on the show one day. So,
Yeah.
and then
Oh man,
bring him back.
if he is ever on the show or if he ever does catch this, you know how we were talking about like how we used to play on the blacktop in the beginning, like that's where we used to practice,
Hmm.
and they were only like 7.5 foot courts.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but I dunked on Leonard on that 7.5 foot court. Oh, it felt so good.
Oh
Yeah.
my
So
god.
you go ahead and remind Leonard one day, and I don't know if he'll remember, but
I'll pull this clip up and I'll show it to him. Yeah, yeah. Leonard was a really cool guy. Like all the time that I knew him in high school. So I'll definitely
he
try.
has a
Hmm.
he has his dad was great, so supportive of our team. It's like him and Kyle's dad were like our biggest fans. Even though we'd have like, especially that your guys' eighth grade year when we didn't win a game, they were still our biggest fans, and they're like, it's okay, guys, like you guys play hard. I see you guys do it in practice every day, like, and that made me feel better because like if we would lose and if we lose bad, like I feel like I let you guys down and um I let your parents down or anyone who comes to watch you guys, right? Um, so when I would hear parents say positive things like that, like that's always that's always like the best, you know. Um, so it's crazy. It's like it's just middle school basketball, right? But there's so much, there's so many memories that I keep close, and so many little things like that that I adore and appreciate a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think that like yeah, like I think it is like still like such a interesting time period. Like you said, like sometimes like when you like think about it like in a certain way, like you say like it does make it seem small, but like when you're I don't know, like it's just like genuine like interaction, you know? Like it's like a sports team, everybody is there for like a common goal, and you know, you're training these guys, you know, trying to hone their skills, trying to work together and try to win something, you know, and
Hmm.
there's something about, you know, there's something that just about sports that like bring people together, and you know, it's just something special. So, yeah,
Hmm.
no, it's cool.
Yeah, I always hope you guys would like build a brotherhood out of that, because it's another extra 2 hours you spend outside of school with each other in this environment where it's you against everybody, you know. So those- it's always a cool dynamic to have with all the other guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um yeah, definitely that increased exposure, you know, that you just mentioned, that extra 2 hours, like um it's just like really cool time, because like I said, like some of like part of the reason why this podcast exists is because like is to just increase that like time of like interaction, you know, like
Hmm.
we don't have school anymore where we can like have that like random conversation at lunch anymore. So those times are gone, and I guess we just have to find new ways to like find these like nuggets of time to kind of like interact with other people.
Right.
um
Right.
but yeah, like you know, like you said, like honestly, like there has been like that true brotherhood that you mentioned with some of those guys, like you know, travel together, and like honestly, like I think I'll just like be friends with some of those guys like for the rest of my life. So
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
that's really cool. Did you know, for some reason, a random thought, did we always have a bus?
No. Those first 2 years when we were doing rec league,
Uh-huh.
parents would drive the kids.
Okay.
When we finally got, so your sixth and seventh grade year, since you weren't playing middle school basketball under Long Beach Unified School District,
Mm-hmm.
you were just part of the Parks and Recs program
Okay.
representing John Muir. Um, Parents would drive, but then when we were finally part of when you got your eighth grade year, and the school actually had an eighth grade, a full middle school, um, Long Beach Unified started providing the bus for us to transport from in front of Muir to Washington or Jefferson or Franklin or Hudson. I think you guys walked or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just bring that up because like that was like another cool experience. You know, like just like the bus, and like, you know, everyone
yeah.
traveling together on that bus, like yeah, that was a cool part of that whole basketball experience.
I think I had to ride with you guys once. You guys are generally a really, really good group. All the boys, like you guys are well behaved, smart. But I think there was one time I'd be like, "Hey, be respectful," or something like that. Like, because I mean, you guys are kids, probably yeah, really excited, like you were saying, it's a cool experience, and but probably the bus driver was like, "Man, these kids won't shut the fuck up." That's about
Oh, yeah, probably. Um,
it.
yeah.
No, but you know, I would relish to have moments like that back. You know, where it's just simple 15-minute drives from point A to point B, but those are really cool moments to cherish.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, I still remember like, you know, even just like those moments of like just like kind of like waiting for the bus to like arrive sometimes, like we're in front of like John Muir, and like we're just waiting for that bus, like I just remember like it's just, I don't know, like just small moments like that, like it's just like it's just nice. I don't know what to say. I just it's like
Yeah.
whenever I think of like peaceful, like peaceful memories of just like where things were simple, and like I just think back to that. I honestly think back to like a bunch of like Muir, and a bunch of like, you know, middle school, elementary school, like those were like, you know, things I remember. So
I remember, now that you tell me, you bring it up, like waiting for the bus. One time the bus was running late, and I had this OCD where I needed you guys. Maybe it wasn't even an OCD. I just needed you guys to. I just wanted to practice the plays more. So we just did it on the sidewalk, and then the bus was running late. I'm like, all right, we don't got to practice anymore. Like this is gonna be overkill. So I was like, John, pull out your violin, and John just started playing his violin. I don't know if you remember. It was like pre-game music with a violin.
Oh man, I don't remember that. It's hilarious. I'm gonna have to tell him that.
I think he's done it a couple times. Yeah.
That's so funny. Oh man. So yeah, so
Yes.
so yeah, so how was it like? So you were coaching for John Muir and still doing like your schooling like throughout all that time.
Yeah. Yeah. And that wasn't too bad. Um, yeah, it wasn't bad at all. I just found time to found ways to make it work. You know. So, um, I was working at where was I working? I was working at a couple different. I was working at the convenience store over at the Union.
Oh really?
Um, yeah. So the first 2 years at Muir were just volunteered. I was a VIP.
Hmm.
So that was just volunteer work. So I still had to work. So I was working there and at a screen printing shop. And it was cool because at the screen printing shop, I hooked up Muir with PE t-shirts.
Oh really?
So, so yeah. So then they would get, and then the first set of jerseys that Muir ever had was through our screen printing shop. So it worked
Wow.
out.
That's
Yeah.
super cool.
But I always look forward to either leaving work or leaving school to make it to the west side by 3:30. Yeah.
Wow.
We weren't privileged enough to have a gym, so I'd have to get to you guys by the time pretty much school ends because the sun's gonna go down and it's a winter time. It's a winter sport. So
Hmm.
sometimes it was cold outside. Sometimes the wind blew so hard, no one made one basket like when you're outside. Uh,
Oh,
um,
that's funny.
did you know? Did you guys all plan to go Cal State Long Beach together, or who went to Cal State Long Beach? You, Jeremiah?
Cal State Long Beach. Me, Jeremiah, Reggie,
Yeah,
um,
Giovanni.
Giovanni. Actually, he went the City College to Fullerton route.
Oh, okay.
So he went there, and then John. Yeah, he did the City College, Cal State Long Beach,
Hmm.
and he graduated already. So John graduated. He got his thing in computer engineering. So he's computer engineering. Reggie, I, th- I think he's working on like some sort of like IT. So he's doing IT stuff. Like he likes
Hmm.
fixing computers and stuff like that. Jeremiah, he got his in nursing. So he's a nurse.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh, right. That's funny. Now that you mentioned, I met his mom again at um at a facility she worked. I was doing
Okay.
like clinical rotations at her facility over in Torrance, and she's like, "Yeah, Jeremiah, he wants to get into nursing." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, Tita." Like, I was like asking him how's he doing, stuff like that. That totally forgot. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, he's been a nurse for about, I'd say about almost maybe a year and a half now.
Where's he working?
Oh man, I don't know. Um,
Somewhere with scrubs.
yeah,
That
yeah,
counts.
yeah.
It's good enough.
He's a little bit I guess one of the more like distance people from the group. So
Yeah.
but he does come out to play. So that's when we get to catch back and see what's up.
That's good.
Yeah. And then Justin, actually, he's also went to Cal State Long Beach. He's still in there. I think he's like in his final year or something. And he's taking it in biochem. It's a bunch of chemistry stuff. I don't think he knows what he wants to do with it yet, but you know, he's something in the sciences. Yeah. Yeah, I think that went through everybody. Did you know you never met Giovanni, a person named Giovanni?
No, I met him at Muir,
Oh, you did?
and like you guys would bring him along, yeah.
Oh, okay. He never
Did
joined the
and
basketball team.
did I think Giovanni didn't he try out? I probably cut him. I'm sure I cut him.
Well, no, I think there was a
But
guy named Giovanni, and then there was another one that was just Giovanni.
oh, okay.
Yeah, I think there was two of them. Yeah,
Mm.
Giovanni is the guy that he was the guy that was basically like us, like that would
Mm.
play like on the basketball courts. Like he was a guy that I met in like third grade, and he like grew up with us, kind of thing. But he was a
Yeah.
guy that he never tried out, like for basketball.
No?
Yeah, I don't
Oh.
know why
He
we.
was tall though, right? He
He
was
is
always
one of
tall.
the taller ones actually. Like he's
Yeah.
actually I would say like the second tallest one next to John. But
Mm.
he was actually our sharpshooter. Like he was our
Oh,
like true like 3 point. Like he's like he's like the true kind of like stand and like shoot kind of guy. Um but like yeah, like for some reason he never joined the team. Like maybe he
it's
was
too
like
bad.
you. Like like everybody on the team was like his friends, but he just like never like tried out. But
I should have just asked him to. I should have gave him 2 shots.
I mean that's his
I'm
specialty.
sure he came to like your practice. Yeah. Oh, there we go. He could have carried on the torch.
Yeah, like he yeah, so yeah, he's definitely he was our 3 point specialist. He hasn't played with us actually in like he doesn't play with us often in basketball. I don't know, like he doesn't I guess he just doesn't play with us like yeah, that often anymore.
He
But
does a lot of photography, doesn't he?
yes, he does.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, so he's like I would say like yeah, the best photographer from from the group. So like I mean like he's like I think someone also just hired him to like or offered to hire him to like do a wedding, like wedding stuff um recently.
It's
So like
huge. That's awesome.
yeah, like I think that definitely like I could definitely see him like, being that like, really professional photographer, like he's really interested in cameras and knows how to edit photos really well. So, he's in that field. Speaking of like, skills, the one thing I wanted to ask you, you do like woodworking stuff or like somehow
Man,
like
yeah, that just kind of that came out of nowhere, man. Uh, I'm probably a, approaching 2 years deep into it. Yeah, it basically so Fariza, who's my wife now,
mm-hmm.
um, she wanted something. I think she wanted a new bed frame, or she we no we oh here it is. We wanted to upgrade to a king size bed. We had
Okay.
a queen, right? And then we're like, okay, so we got one of those like we ordered one of those mattresses that comes in a box and poofs out like Casper. Well, we got like a tufted needle one. Um, and we're like, well, it's not going to fit on the queen size frame that we have. So started looking into bed frames online and like the bed frames that we like. So we got a little bougie, right? The bed frames that we like are like $1,500, $2,000, and I'm
Oh
like,
wow.
fuck that. Like, this is geometry and scissors. Like, I could do this. So I had a circular saw and that's where it started. With circuit saw, I made a floating bed frame, and from there it kind of just grew. It transitioned into the next thing I made was a dining table, and really like they they're nice and they're really expensive. The dining table that we liked was like $1,500 also, but I'm like, this is just rectangles. I can do this. Um, so, and then it kind of just spilled over from there. And I've had no formal training. I thought about going to um, Cerritos College. They have like a woodwork shop just so I can get some formal training. But I mean, my education is Pinterest and YouTube University. Like that's basically
Wow.
where I've learned like my craft. And then over these 2 years, my tools have just accumulated. I've got some cool big boy toys now that I like using. But yeah,
Yeah, no, like I saw some, like I would like see sometimes on your story or something, and like see some of these like some of the things you create. I'm like, what? Like some of those are like super cool and like they fit perfectly. Some like when I see them and like they look like super professional and stuff like that. I'm like, what the heck? Yeah. Okay. So like you
yeah.
you mentioned like like they're just rectangles. Like when you first thought about it, like was it that like when you started doing it, like did it like was it a smooth like beginning or was it like harder
No,
than you
it
thought?
wasn't. It was there like you would. Yeah, there was a lot of things, little things to learn. Um, I mean, you can make it as simple as connecting Legos, right? Um, but uh, then when you start critiquing your own work, you start to understand like, oh, okay, this shit's not simple, right? You can make it simple. It's one of those things where it can just totally be simple, but if you're someone who like critiques yourself a lot, then yeah, then it's not simple. Yeah. Like just from small things like understand like you have to um take into account to the width of a blade if you're trying to cut a board in half, that you're not going to get like if you want 36-inch of a board and you have a on hand 72 inches of a board and you're like, oh, I need two 36-inch boards. You're not going to get two 36-inch boards from that 72-inch board because you got to take account the width of the blade, which is going to take away from that. And then things like not all boards that you get or pieces of wood are straight. A lot of them are warped. A lot of them, yeah, things like that. Start to kind of learn, and then different ways on creating joints, so that things are stronger. Yeah, or you want things to be more subtle and low profile, so you kind of lose stability, but you try to learn how to create it in different ways. So
So did that like come like you said it came out of nowhere and like was like was it like a sustained like passion like so that like you would like learn about it a little bit every day or like was it just like project by project kind of thing?
mm, both, because in between each project, I'm always either reading something or watching something on YouTube or getting ideas from Pinterest. So I typically do one project at a time. So I'll try to like get as much information about that one project or a certain way I want to do it. So yeah, so I'll learn on the daily. Um, but then right now, we're redoing like we're remodeling the house,
Oh.
and so I have like I'm doing redoing the floors, um, and like the walls. And so like I'm doing that project along with like other stuff that like furniture I'll make for us or for friends or family and stuff like that. So that kind of spins me out, but it's manageable. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fun, and I actually don't think I want to turn it into a business per se, just because I want to make sure it stays a hobby. You know, just yeah, I don't want that feeling of
I gotta do this.
yeah, yeah.
That's cool. You know, I saw that you guys were remodeling. How like does that like been for a while? Like you guys were thinking about that for a while, or like was that recent New Year's kind of thing?
Yeah, for a while, we knew like we wanted to tear out the carpet from the house and put in some hardwood floors. And then just this past weekend in the office that I'm actually in right now, in front of me, um, there's a there was this bookshelf, and we were thinking about keeping it, but I wanted to put the floors all the way to the original wall, so we had to tear down the book the bookshelf that was built into the wall, and so that kind of becomes another project that we didn't initially plan, but we liked tackling these things. You know, one, it saves us some money. Two, we just kind of look at it like we're learning a new craft. We're learning something for ourselves. And then, I mean, through 2020, like we've got all this damn time on our hands on weekends. Like, why not? You know?
True. I mean, I just thought that was
Mhm.
really cool. Like you guys like, you know, just like literally just getting your hands dirty and like doing it yourselves kind of thing.
Yeah,
Uh
yeah, yeah,
I mean, that's just like I mean, like at least for me, like my first thought was like, wow, that takes a lot of balls. Like I don't know why, but like just like looking at like, you know, the whole demolition process and like, you know, like part of me is like scared of like even thinking about doing that, but see you guys do that and like, you know, I'm sure that's gonna turn out great. I mean, that's just really cool.
you know what it is? It's like it's like being in middle school again, and I am terrified to go um, try out for the basketball team. Like I was terrified of even thinking about touching the house or starting any kind of woodwork project, but it's kind of one of those things that I knew I didn't regret it once I jumped into it. Yeah,
That's good.
and so it's awesome. What about you? You picking up any other crafts or something you wanted to kind of dive into?
What have I been trying to do? You know, the funny thing is that actually I felt like growing up, I was always like I always did like doing stuff with like with my hands, like very what do they call like dexterous or something
Mm,
like that. Where it's just like I really did like um you know like just like I actually did like building. So whenever like one of my friends like have to do like an IKEA furniture thing, like I love doing like that kind of stuff. Like I love building stuff like but actually like, I don't do anything directly like with that. Like I don't have like you know like that woodworking stuff or like anything that deals with it. It's just that when these opportunities present itself, I just know that I love building. So
yeah,
maybe I should try like you know getting into something like that. You know.
totally. Now, are you read the manual and go step by step, or put the manual to the side and I'll figure this out?
Ah, when it comes to the IKEA furniture, I do read the manual. I do read the manual, like
Yeah,
because like um, I mean I don't know. I just I mean, but like after I've done it for a while, I mean, it seems very sometimes. I mean, some of these things are so basic that you can kind of just
yeah,
figure it out yourself.
yeah.
Are you more of like the?
I'm the all right. I'll keep the manual close by, right? But I'm going to try to see if I can do this on my own. Yeah,
Okay.
and for the most part, I end up reaching for that manual. So like so I know to keep it close. Yeah,
Okay.
but I always like I like to attempt to see if I can figure it out, but it doesn't go very successfully.
Yeah. I am I more of that type? Yeah, no, I'm probably more of the watch. Okay, part of it is because like whoever I'm building the stuff to, typically like for whatever reason I just want to impress them like at how like fast I can like build this because like typically like they don't know like they would probably struggle with it or something. So I don't know. I just build it as fast as I possibly can like as like not but like in the most like uh you know comprehensive way without
Hmm.
cutting corners or anything like that. Yeah. But yeah, for me, like, my recent things have been just, well, like I said, like, I'm more of like I'm doing like a lot of like career exploration right now. So like my thing is like, so I took my major actually in like food, like kind of dietetics and food administration for me.
Mm.
So like, so I was like, the pathway for me is usually like to be like a registered dietitian. Um, but like I said, like that's been on hold for a little bit, and so I've been exploring other kind of fields potentially. And like for me, um, like a potential field for me was also like potential like therapy. Like so like just learning about like how to like, so I've been trying to read more books like just potentially like how to help people better through like certain like mm, just maybe certain like tough times because like I've always like liked listening to people and like I've always like tried to be like very empathetic with them, and I guess the next step that I've always wanted to do is like how do I like help them better, like you can listen and you can like be there for them, but like how do you like what is one way, like what are ways scientifically you know backed ways that you could potentially like help them better is what I've
Right.
been trying to read about more. Um, yeah, so that's me. And then yeah, okay. So do you happen to play any kind of like fantasy basketball?
Oof, totally. Yeah, and like earlier, like I was anything that had to do with basketball or anything, like any way I can like just absorb more information. And fantasy basketball, fantasy football was like that was the way to go. I became I'm not playing this year, just because it was kind of uh, not unfamiliar, but we just weren't sure if we were gonna have fantasy basketball this year, right?
Right.
Even last year, my fantasy basketball league, um, it just kind of like Yahoo Sports just quit the league,
Oh
and
yeah.
then everyone got their yeah. But yeah, I'm a sucker for it, man. I will create matrix sheets um, for my league, and yeah. What about you? You guys play? You guys have
uh,
leagues together and stuff?
yeah. So we only did it. We only actually started last year. So,
Oh,
so that
really?
was the year that
You
we.
started
Yeah. So that was the first year
That's
was
a
the
terrible first
COVID
experience.
year. We didn't get a
Yeah.
winner for our first ever league, and so that was interesting.
At least nobody's a loser on their first time. So
True.
yeah.
And I'm assuming you guys play
I'll tell.
like like category leagues. 100%.
Um, do, uh, almost all the above. Yeah, category
Mm-hmm.
leagues typically.
Is it
Hmm.
was it was it like I forget 9 cat leagues or 8 cat
Yeah,
leagues? Okay.
generally 9 categories. Sometimes we go 11. Like we'll expand rebounds into offensive and defensive rebounds, and because the big man would have uh, generally the advantage with offensive and defensive, then we'd add something like personal fouls because a big man would have a disadvantage with personal fouls. So that would create then turn the 9 into 11.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
see,
and then you know, go ahead.
Yeah, like I was also like at least in the first year, like I was super into like the moment. Okay, so like I've always liked basketball and I always had like my favorite like kind of team, but like in terms of like appreciating like the whole sport, I never really cared too much about like the other teams. Like I knew that it was mostly like just my team and I just like root for my team. But it was actually like that first year of fantasy, like that was the first year where I kind of like became like more obsessed with like basketball and like and with like everybody, like with every player in the league. Like so it wasn't just like I knew the names of the players of my favorite team, but it was more like I knew like a lot more players because I played fantasy basketball. So that was like
Yeah,
a really cool thing. Hmm.
totally. My knowledge has expanded, or for the NBA, has expanded just because of fantasy basketball. You know,
Hmm.
and then like Fariza will ask me like, "Well, how do you know this about this player?" I'm like, well, you know why I know because like that's what I do till 1 a.m. in the morning. It's like,
Yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, like for us, like we were a beginner league, and like we like I think all of us never played any fantasy basketball before that year. So we started off in the points league is what we're still doing. So a lot more basic. I was looking at like the category leagues, and it does feel a lot more like there's a lot more strategy, like 100%. When it comes to category, because I don't know. You can plan more. You can like yeah. It's just another world. It's another world
yeah,
compared to points. It's I mean points is
yeah.
just
I prefer category.
yeah
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah.
My goal is to try to convince the guys to switch to category next year.
Oh, you got to. Yeah. Yeah. You guys do head to head or
uh
rotary
yeah. So
head to
head to
head?
head like every week, I think is what we
You
do.
do you do you take points. Is it like 5-4 each week, or you go 1-0 if you win the week?
1-0.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what we're doing.
I remember back in like so when I was at Cal State Long Beach, I started in 2005, and like there wasn't an app for
Oh
fantasy
wow.
basketball, right?
Mm.
So if like I would cross the nugget and I see something happen like on ESPN, I'm like, oh shit, this player got injured, so I'd run. That means somebody's stepping up on that team, so I'd run over down to like the Union. They had computers there.
Uh
Like,
huh.
I don't think they're there anymore. It's where like Jamba Juice or Robex was, and like I would like it would take, and internet was so much slower. But I'd be like so determined to just like, all right, I might be late to class, but I got to pick up this player. And or yeah, so
Yeah, no, I love that. Like I would say like I was one of the most active players in that first league of ours, and like in my first pick of that season was Steph Curry.
oh no.
And like it was literally the week right before he got that injury.
Uh,
And I was just like,
was
"Oh
it
my god."
Kelly Olynyk? Was it Kelly Olynyk who hurt him? I think it was Kelly Olynyk.
I think so.
Yeah, or yeah.
And I was just devastated. I was just like, this was supposed to be Steph Curry's MVP season. Like by himself on that team. Like, so then what did I have to do? Like, I had to go on the waiver wire, or not waiver
Hmm.
wire, but look at the free agents and like, what can I pick up? And because like I was in that position where I was just like looking around, like what the best players are. I was able to pick up. Well, one of the players that was like really popped off last year was like Devonte Graham.
Yeah,
Yeah, Devonte. I got Devonte, and then
mini Lillard.
yeah, he's
Yeah,
been struggling though lately. Like
yeah. I don't think the addition of Lamelo is
yeah,
has helped him.
Yeah,
Yeah,
not sure what they're gonna do. Probably gonna be a six man or something, right?
yeah.
Maybe. So I got him, and yeah, I was just so active, and actually turned out to be like a really good contender last year, despite your first
Losing
rounder.
your first round. Uh-huh.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that was tough. Because I think last year we did a 12 team,
yeah.
but it was a 12 team, but there was like two bots or something
Right, right.
because like we couldn't get enough players. So this year we actually only have 8 players, so it's a lot more shallow and a lot more
Yeah.
science heavy.
There's not as much movement that happens in the um well actually yeah when you have 8 teams, there's like too many players to select from the free agent pool. So you got to
Yeah,
kind of cap how many ads and drops you have um in your league because guys go crazy adding every day and dropping
true,
their worst player, so they have somebody playing every day or a stacked amount of players. Yeah.
true. I
So
was
10 is a good minimum.
right. Oh, for the teams.
Yeah.
Okay, true. Yeah, because like I look at the way like I look at the free agents and I'm like, wow, like I wish I had all these players.
Yeah.
Because they're still getting in our points league like they're still getting like really good numbers and I'm like, wow, like why hasn't anyone picked this up? And I'm looking
Yeah.
at my team, I'm like, my team is stacked already. I can't drop anybody. I don't know.
When we were first playing and we had only like 8 teams, I figured that I should go top heavy and just trade like 3 good players for one really good player, and then that would allow me to add 2 more from the waiver wire or free agent pool
Mm-hmm.
that I wanted, in addition to like having that really good player. You know.
Did that like work out as a strategy?
Oh, totally. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, figuring out things like that, or like what you could use. Well, you might want to cut this out so they don't hear it, right? Uh, no,
It's
like
okay.
see which teams play on Tuesday, Thursdays, because those are nationally televised games on TNT where only 3 games are played that night. So
Mm-hmm.
you want guys from those teams, so you always have um, a good amount of guys playing on Tuesday, Thursdays,
Mm-hmm.
because usually Wednesdays and like Fridays, you're always, if you only have guys that play typically Wednesdays and Fridays on their schedule, then if you have like a roster of 13 and you can only play 10 guys on Wednesdays and Fridays, everybody might play. So that means you're wasting 3 guys a day and they're just
Mm-hmm.
sitting on the bench and you're not going to be able to utilize their stats for the week's total. So if you can just switch out those guys and have draft somebody that plays a lot of Tuesday, Thursday games, then yeah, that's kind of one way to like spread the wealth through the week on your team.
I've never heard of that, but that is really interesting. Actually, I never thought about it like that. I didn't know like some
Yeah.
teams. I didn't know that whole Tuesday Thursday dynamic kind of thing.
Yeah, it used to be like just primarily Thursday because TNT would have the contract with NBA and they would just play Thursdays, and there would only be 2 or 3 marquee games or games in the NBA scheduled. So a lot of your guys on the roster are just going to be sitting on Thursdays,
Yeah.
and sometimes, and then like I noticed in my first couple seasons, like dang, I only have one guy or no guy playing on Thursday, and here the guy I'm playing against has 4 guys. Why is that? And then so like the next season, I'm like, okay, I got to stack up my Thursday night games. Of course, don't just sacrifice it for like, oh, I'm gonna draft Devontae Graham because he plays more Thursdays than Damian Lillard, right?
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah, no, I definitely noticed that whole Tuesday Thursday is definitely like the yeah, my slots are typically a lot more empty and free those days.
yeah, yeah. And then like if you want to be more detailed with it, but you can always do it for the trade deadline before the trade deadline instead of just the draft. on your weeks, on week 21, 22, 23, or whenever you start playoffs, 22, 23, 24,
Mhm.
um, most teams play 3 or 4 games per week. So
Mhm.
you want to get the most out of your guys.
Mhm.
So try to find a guy that plays 4 games each of those 30 weeks. So 12 total.
Right.
Some guys, I remember Durant had, when he was with Golden State, he had 5 games for championship week,
Mhm.
um, or I forgot, semifinals week, and like he just killed. Um, so like you can find things like that where it's going to really help you for playoffs if you know your team's going to be good enough anyway to make it to playoffs.
That is
Yeah.
interesting. That's gonna
So
be so hard this year because of like the whole COVID thing,
yeah, yeah. So yeah, so maybe next year.
huh?
Yeah,
Because
when the new draft.
true, because they mentioned they were gonna like have like they were gonna schedule like all the games that they postponed like sometime down the road, but like people were
Uh-huh.
saying like for example like the Wizards like they had like a bunch of games that they never played,
Yeah, them
and
in Memphis, right?
yeah, so they're like people were like oh like maybe they won't even get to play those games and they'll just have to like do something like with win percentage or something like that, and I was
Yeah,
just like wow, it's crazy.
yeah. So yeah, it's tough this year. So I'm kind of like relieved I'm not in it because I might be obsessing too much trying to figure out how to figure it out.
Yeah.
So
What what's your win percentage with all the fantasy league stuff?
I think on my Yahoo profile, it's like um in the 60s,
Oh,
something like
okay.
that. Six, yeah, 60, like 67, 68% win percentage.
And how's
Yeah,
your
I
uh-huh.
was that.
Oh, and like how was your like experience like through? Was there any like like ones where you're like, "Oh my god, like so close to like winning or like anything like that?" Cuz it does seem like,
Uh,
you put in a lot of like effort into it.
it definitely sucks anytime like you don't win. Um, no, but I get a good amount of wins, and then like, but it's like it's fun too. So even if like I don't win, it's the season's pretty fun, especially like between me and my boys. We just kind of talk a lot of shit. So yeah, and it's one way that we can still um one of the ways that we can still bond, communicate. Yeah, is through fantasy.
Definitely.
Fantasy basketball, of course. I got to clarify. Yeah,
Right, right.
yeah.
Um
Uh,
yeah. I had a quick question about like okay, so like so what do you do like at the moment like as a profession?
physical therapy.
Okay.
Yeah, and that like that kind of like that started because of sports, right?
Mhm.
Initially, growing up, Gary Vitti, the athletic trainer of the Lakers,
Mm.
um, was like my idol, and then going to Cal State Long Beach and uh, majoring in um, kinesiology. I was first in athletic. I had the option of athletic training, but then I just found physical therapy to be a little bit more practical, and I'd be able to have a little bit more avenues through physical therapy. Um, I'd be in the medical professional world, which was humbling. And I still would get to have, if I wanted to practice it, I'd get to still practice with the same intensity um, in terms of athletic training if I wanted to with certain clients. So yeah, it started from sports and just wanting to be around it because I knew being stunted at 5'8", I'm not going to make professional sports coming out of high school or going into college, right? So it's like,
Mhm.
got to find something practical, stay around sports. And so, yeah, ended up going into physical therapy. Um, I work, I, prior to um, COVID, prior to March, I was working at an outpatient, uh, orthopedic outpatient physical therapy clinic.
Mm-hmm.
So we would have a lot of uh, high level clients, high level patients with a lot of sports injuries. So that was fun. Um, but post COVID came, I clientele declined um, because just the one, it was in downtown LA, and a lot of people who lived in downtown or worked in downtown just started working remotely or moved out of downtown LA. So now I'm just working at a nursing home, and I've actually been there since 2009. It was just always a part time,
Mm.
but now um, I'm much more needed there during this time. Um, so and I still love it there a lot. That's why I keep it. I've always kept it all these years. And so I have like a ton of grandmas and grandpas over there that I really care for, and um, a good handful of them were diagnosed with COVID. They had COVID,
Wow.
and I still had to work with them just to make sure that they can still function properly. They still have conditioning to function, right? Good lung capacity. Um, we have RDs there too that do a great job.
Oh wow.
Maybe we'll so. Um, but
That's
yeah,
cool.
that's my place right now is at a nursing home doing physical therapy.
Okay. So you knew about the
Yeah.
okay, so you did know about the existence of like registered dietitians.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, cuz some people haven't even heard of like diet. I mean, I didn't know about dietitians until like I came across it in one of my intro to nutrition classes. I was like, "What is a dietitian?" Like I honestly like even the word was just so weird to me cuz like I've never
Man,
heard of it.
if I you mentioned that if I could, so my office is like kind of crazy right now because everything's moved around. But if I could just pull out the Intro to Nutrition book, I still have it here.
Wait,
If I didn't move things
really?
around, from Cal State Long Beach, yeah. I don't know where it is, but yeah, I do still have it uh, around. That's funny.
Wow. Was it just part of like the curriculum that you had to take like a nutrition course?
It was part. It was part of it. I don't remember. I can't remember what category, but at the same time, also selected it because of the options because I was interested in it. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, that was actually that intro to class actually from Cal State Long Beach was the one that actually sprung me to pursue that major. So yeah, that's really cool. Um, so did you have to work with him like with full like PPE as well?
Hmm. Yeah,
Wow.
and I think um, and like through COVID, right? Like I think nurses and um, and RTs definitely deserve like all the credit, like going into war with this, especially like in ICU with those who are really tough. But I don't think a lot of people know, like with therapists, speech therapists, occupational therapists, and physical therapists, that like with the geriatric population, um, and even in the neuro population, like we're basically hugging our patients for an hour, like if it's doing transfers, or I mean, just holding them up, so because their legs can't hold them up, right? Or they can't even roll in bed on their own or sit up from bed. So we're basically hugging them and carrying them their way through. I mean, trying to teach them, not letting them be so passive, but having them, trying to have them assert some kind of force, you know. But yeah, so I had to be full PPE. But and it was, I mean, it was very nerve-wracking. But I mean, you got to do what you got to do. I never wanted to compromise the quality of care that I gave. If I got COVID, I got COVID, right? I then I deal with it then. But I wasn't going to sacrifice their quality of care. So, but now everyone in my facility has received their second dose of the vaccine. I received my second dose of vaccine. So I have peace of mind that I can not only keep myself safe, but they're kept safe, right? So yeah, it's awesome. And then with speech therapists who RDs work with a lot, like for them, sometimes they can't wear a mask, and the patients won't be wearing a mask because if the patient is a stroke victim, they'll be doing tongue exercises, right, or swallowing exercises. So it just leaves both of them vulnerable. I mean, they'll wear like a face shield, but there's only so much they can do in terms of protecting themselves because they still have to provide the treatment. Yeah, so it's kind of crazy. It's like the situation you put yourself in, but I'm thankful, man. Like I went this whole year without getting COVID, and I don't know how that happened because I know a good amount of people that were positive, but I'm thankful and knock on wood, hopefully I don't get it. But yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. You know that. I mean, that's. I mean, you were in the fray. You know, like you said, like, you know, like hugging the patients, pretty much, like, you know, side by side, and I mean that's scary. I mean, this was like one of those like things where it's just like, you know, are known to be like killer. Have killed like, you know, thousands and thousands of people, and you know, to be out there like where everybody, you know, is advised to stay home and away from others, like you're there, like, you know, doing your job still, and you know, helping that population and still giving the treatment. I mean, that's
Yeah.
wow.
No, yeah, I couldn't take my job for granted. I mean, because I put it in perspective that a lot of people have lost their job this past year, right? And I am fortunate enough to still be rolling in a paycheck for what I do. So um, I couldn't take it for granted or even slack off on my job because, yeah, I'm just fortunate to have it. And this is what I signed up to do. So just gotta do it, I guess. The scary part was my dad is living with us because he came over here last March from the Philippines. He lives in the Philippines, but he came over from the Philippines last March. And then what happens last March? Everything got shut down, right? So he's been stuck here since then. But today, actually, this morning, he got his second dose of his vaccine. So yeah, more peace of mind there. One of the scary things was coming home from work thinking I could bring home COVID, and then he gets it. You know, that's definitely something scary. But in this household, we did everything we could to make sure we lessen the risk of anyone getting sick. You know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really good. And I mean, obviously it worked because you know, you guys are able to stay safe and throughout that year. Okay, and then my final question was typically I like to like towards the end, like ask about like kind of like what your future plans are, like, what do you kind of see like 5, 10 years down the line, like for yourself, kind of thing.
Mhm. Um, I don't I don't know. There's a few things, especially okay. So with woodworking, I don't know where it's gonna take me, and I want to keep it a hobby, but I get people that keep telling me like you should do something with this. This is great, like maybe. So that might be maybe after I take that formal course, I'll debate that. But I used to, but with physical therapy, since that's my main occupation, um, I mean, I love my occupation like it is a hobby, right? So I'm glad it doesn't feel like a job. Um, but I used to think I wanted my own practice, but I don't, I'm not the business savvy person or think I want to be in business. So I, I might just, for now, I might kind of just continue with, just kind of see where things take me. Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, no, like, yeah, I mean, I don't think about like 5 or 10 years down the line either, like often. So, um,
I mean, there's small things like uh maybe do I want to get into more investments, right? I mean there's this rush in Bitcoin. Like, do I want to learn more about Bitcoin? Do I want to get into that? So like in terms of financially investing in things, maybe that might open up. But then there's also this fight with myself is um, like how much do I want to um, invest into more uh, uh, capitalism? Like, do I want, or do I? Because I grew up and I was raised in a capitalistic world, right? So I
uh-huh.
function in that world. Um, but am I the biggest fan of it? Not necessarily, but I function. So, well, I don't know, so I have this back and forth with myself
That
on,
is an interesting, that is an interesting thing you bring up. I think, I mean, if judging from like how big of a topic that is, like I feel like we could like talk about that for like the next hour.
we could, yeah, no, seriously, we can, shit can continue to go deep, like, this,
Yeah, because like that, I
yeah,
mean, like that was like, I mean, I find it, I would love to like dive deep into that because like that is an interesting topic. That is, I mean, that you just showed me like, a quick teaser from that
yeah,
little bit, but yeah, that seems to run, yeah, like really interesting. Wow.
yeah. I mean, with my occupation, I work in, so I work in the medical field, and I know, um, like insurance is an obstacle. It's like the biggest obstacle for people to get care, right? But I have a skill set where I can provide physical therapy to everybody, to whoever needs it. But am I allowed to? No, right? One, I could get sued if I just go ahead and say, "Oh, you need this? Let me put my hands on you." I can get in trouble if insurance doesn't approve it. Things like that, right? So, but is everyone entitled? Should be entitled to it? I think I should be able to treat everybody who feels like they need it. So, but yeah, so that kind of goes in hand with that. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's it could we can yeah, I'm sure we can get deep with this topic.
Yeah, like I know that at least like very like briefly about the I've heard that there's like a lot of like discussion about like how there could be possible reform, like ideas for reform of the medical system, like in the United States, and uh, I mean that is like a big, yeah, that's a big thing. Like insurance and like how useful are they? Like, is there a better system and stuff like that? Yeah,
Right, right. Yeah.
so interesting.
Uh, I know. And like, yeah, being in a home right now, I feel very fortunate, but not a lot of people my age or even going down to your age, a lot of us are don't get to have the opportunity to get a home, right? To buy a home, because one, we're stuck in student loans. Two, baby boomers own what percentage of homes and are still alive and not and renting them out, but there's just not an availability of homes, right? So yeah, we can continue to expand on capitalism and
I mean,
I'm not
uh-huh.
not I don't hate it because I live in it, like I function in it. I've learned to function in it, but I think there are some great ideas out there on how to make things work for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. I mean, I love it. I love this. Discussing ideas, I think, is something that like people just ought to do more. Like we all like have like we all live our own like different lives, and we see different things, and you know stuff like the United States like medical system and like insurance and like how that plays out. Like people should be more open to like how like to discussing those ideas, because there
Hmm.
potentially could be a better way to do things that could save money, could provide more care to people, better care to people. And I mean, if there's, yeah. And so like when you're discussing all these ideas, yeah, I mean, I love it. I just I love
Yeah,
discussion of ideas like this. So
yeah, um,
yeah.
yeah. Discussions is is a great starting point, and it's very important. It's very key, right? And I think people shouldn't be too afraid of having discussions, starting discussions, or even having so much backlash on somebody who feels like they want to start a topic or want to expand the discussion, you know? Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I mean, shit, like for West Side Long Beach, like just in Long Beach in general, like there's so much to say about West Side Long Beach and how it's treated and how it's looked at, but how much good people don't see in West Side Long Beach, you know, um, because of a lot of different factors. Yeah. I think I've like since I've um, been there when I started with Muir, I learned a lot about the community, and I freaking fell in love with the community over there. Like not like everyone's parents, everyone's families, brothers, sisters, right? Neighbors, um, and there's just so much to offer that people don't see. And like I was looking at homes in West Side Long Beach, and it's the value of homes in West Side Long Beach doesn't reflect the character of West Side Long Beach, you know? Yeah. And also um, having that power plant, all those power plants right behind Hudson Middle School,
Right.
all the all the oil and stuff like that. Like I heard that see, with my time there that Hudson and some of the schools there, I think even like Cabrillo, they get like hush money to just be okay with having all that production behind them.
Mm,
Yeah. This
wow.
is not like crazy news alert. I don't have the facts on this, but I mean, yeah.
That's
My head is like going around in all different topics right now. Just, um, but yeah.
That is cool. You know, Benji, you should have your own podcast.
Oh hell
You know?
no.
No, I mean, like, it really sounds like, you know, you have a lot of these ideas, and, you know, it sounds like you have, like, you know, you have your own
I don't.
opinion on them.
I have opinions. I don't have. I don't think I have like anything outstanding of my own ideas. Any of my ideas are outstanding, but I do listen a lot to ideas. You know, like what's a what's a controversial topic? Like, oh, okay, the Green New Deal, right? So, and the controversial face of it is who? AOC, right? And
Mm.
but and then people really bash the Green New Deal, right? But I mean, just from the face of it, if you want to just read it, it's just 14 pages long. It's not threatening at all. And like we were saying, it's just a discussion, a conversation starter. Um, so that kind of has to kind of goes in hand with the factories and power plants behind Hudson, you know, cleaning that up, right? Creating more jobs and affordable housing and a market, a better market for people in West Side Long Beach. Um, just creating more opportunities. Yeah, so um,
Why do you think it is so controversial then?
uh, because people don't, there's going to be people are going to lose out on what they're already gaining from right now,
Mm.
and people are going to lose people are going to lose money, people are going to lose jobs, right? But what you want to do with the people who lose jobs is put them into new jobs if they're accepting of that, into green efficient energy jobs, right? um, but yeah, that, I mean, that would potentially, I mean, it could potentially be beneficial for communities like Westside Long Beach to not have that type of uh, pollution behind schools like Hudson, you know.
That is, I mean, that
Uh,
makes sense.
but little, yeah, um, yeah. I mean, even like, what was it? In Texas, you see what's going on in Texas right now?
I know about the weather and about the power line
Yeah,
being
like
outages.
yeah, right. They're out of power. There's no heat. It's snowing like crazy, like it's never snowed there before, right? Their power system couldn't handle the weather, right? But and whether you believe in climate change or not, like, I mean, you gotta, if that if it hasn't happened like that, you gotta realize that you need to make some kind of changes. And then I mean, it's controversial because it's the Green New Deal is already being blamed for the power
Mm.
um, the power shortage because it's being said that it was the windmills, which are right, are just using wind as energy, that didn't provide enough energy source to these homes and residents. But they only account for like what 10% of the state's energy, when still natural gas and coal, fossil fuels accounts for the rest of it. So I don't know. It's more things I gotta look into because I could be completely wrong about this stuff. But I'm always listening to new ideas. So it, I'm not a green light on anything. I'm not a red light on anything. But I'm just listening to ideas, like you said, listening to discussions.
I love that. You know, I love that. I think that, um, you know, like, I think that's just where you start. You know, like you said, like, first thing is listening to ideas. You know, second thing is like thinking about it for yourself, and then maybe verifying information, and
and that's all part of the process of like kind of formulating your own opinion, you know,
Yeah.
and you know, like that's kind of like how you make like an educated kind of like, you know, like take on something. And I think people should do that more. Maybe I think that some people might be, I don't know, like some people might fall into too much into like you know, certain like ideologies, and like they might just like default to like, okay, what does my side say and what does, you know, what does their side say, and immediately be against that side just because they're like, you know, not part of you in terms of like your ideology. um but I think what's more important is like making your own educated take on this subject using like
Mhm.
the information that's out there, and you know, making your own thought about it. I mean, that if people did that more, like I think we'd get uh, more productive stuff done, you know,
Yeah.
for everybody.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man. Mm,
Totally agree, man.
yeah.
Um, oh, these next 4 years though, I maybe I won't be as so invested in reading every um like I don't know, I can go back to reading more of my learning about physical therapy even more because I used to read like articles frequently, like um so I can go back to my original craft and not feel like I have to read Trump's every tweet. Like, spend my time uh, diving into like so much political madness. Um,
Right. I mean, that was a, yeah, that was crazy 4 years. That's crazy 4 years.
yeah. So um, yeah. So I think that's what will be on my future uh, 4 year plan. Just getting back to my craft and what I'm good at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good. Well, we've run to 2 hours of talking here.
Yeah, man.
I mean, that went by
Well,
quick for me. Um,
I'm sure it's not enough time to catch up on the past 15 years or so.
I mean, that's true. We have to ball sometime.
Yeah, you get the guys together, maybe somewhere closer to the summer
Yeah.
when things start to like clear up, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but yeah, you give the guys a heads up. Yeah. Well,
Definitely.
even I mean, even like Kyle and Jesse, we'll get them. We'll see if we can hit them up. They were at Cal State Long Beach with you too, around this at the same time.
Right.
I don't know if you ever got to see them or run into them on campus or anything like that, but
Yeah, we bumped into each other a little bit. We didn't talk too much, but I still have them as friends. So I'll hit them up and then see what they say.
yeah, that'll be fun.
And I'll try to hunt down Leonard too, because I don't think I have him as a friend. So I don't
Yeah,
know. I'm gonna have to do some research on him.
I think he added me on Instagram, but I don't think he ever used his Instagram. It was one of those things where he started one and but just never used it.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so I'll let you work your magic. You've been able to, yeah,
I'll try to sweet talk all of them, get them all to
yeah,
come by.
man. I'm all right. Just I'll make sure to get to the court like 30 minutes before you guys, so my old ass can warm up, stretch, get some shots up, and then
This kind of
but
seems.
bring a sub for me. Uh,
Yeah, honestly, it seems a little bit overpowered. You know, you do physical therapy. You're gonna stretch. You're gonna have the, you know, the best routine. You know, starting up, warming up, and we're gonna be there, cold, don't know how to stretch, no warm up, just to start shooting, and then we'll just be
yeah,
at this event.
you're rubbing it in my face. I wish I could still do that. Not stretch, no warm up, and just go straight into playing. Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean this has been really enjoyable. And I think we have to do it again sometime. I mean, it just seems like you're a great thinker. I think that I think you articulate your ideas very well, and you have your eyes out there, like you said, like on controversial ideas, and things that are just pertinent and prevalent in daily life. So yeah,
Got a curious mind, I guess. I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
I got the just keeping the curiosity like a 6-year-old child. Yeah. I don't ever want to give up my youth. So yeah.
I agree. I think that hopefully this is like my like goal that even when I'm like 80, I'm still like gonna sound like this or like sound like like it's just like everything is just like you said, like the reason why I'm able to like talk to somebody for hours on end is just because I'm super curious, about everything about them. Like I said, like I find nothing more interesting than like people and like their stories and like their and just what makes them like them. And I think yeah, so yeah.
Hey, g um, are you you run, right? Pretty
I
frequently?
I try to, yeah.
Are you do you have your eyes set on like a half marathon or a marathon or anything like that?
Oh man, you know like
5K?
5K. I've had my eyes on the
10?
5K. Like
Okay.
like that. Have you run a marathon before?
I have, yeah.
What? I have. What's the secret? Because like I've stalled in my progress.
Um,
Wait, 26
uh,
miles.
y- yeah. Oh, here's the if you say a marathon, you got 26.2 miles. Don't discredit that point two. Um, uh, the secret is I, I mean, shit. I didn't enjoy any one bit of it, but okay, this is crazy. I don't know. Let me see if I can. Um, you see this over here?
Okay, that's a
This is
lot of
all my
medals.
yeah. That's all the marathon medals and stuff, right? It's up here. It says Strong Beach.
Uh huh.
We actually started a run club in Long Beach, and having that run club made um, running a lot easier, having people to run with. Um,
Okay.
I I really I suck a lot at running by myself. Mentally, I would just I'm not strong mentally when it comes to running.
Uh huh.
Like I would like, yeah, okay, that's about it. I'll continue tomorrow. Like I'll tell myself that, you know.
Uh
But
huh.
if you can find someone to run with who enjoys running, maybe to push you a little, or even just as much as you, where you can push each other, I think that'll help. Yeah, I am burnt out. These medals are from like between 2012 to 2016. I feel like I'm retired. I'm burnt out. It was a lot of running.
Okay, what do you think is like a healthy pace for something like that to even aim for? Because like for me, like okay, what? Let me just hear what you say. Like to that.
Like pace as in time per
Yeah, like
mile.
per mile.
I mean,
Because like I don't know what to aim.
you
Maybe I'm
can
going too fast.
if you want to do like a half marathon, a sub 2 hours, which what a lot of people strive for, like the casual runner, right? That's about a 9 minute pace, 9.5 minute pace. But a 10 minute pace is fine. But I mean, if you're a quick runner, like some people get under 2 hours simply and because they run at 8:30, right? Or even faster. But like 10 minute pace is fine. I, I've I've done half marathons where I ran under 2 hours. I've done it where I ran over 2 hours and got the same medal and got the same pain. So
Right. Because like what I do to run, I don't have a regime where it's like I used to do like this progressive thing for the 5K where I would work up to it. But like I stopped doing that after like a couple like 6 months ago, and then so I just started running like my same thing, and I would just like I was thinking like okay, like eventually this will get easy. But for some reason, like every day, like every time I do it, like I end up the same tired. So I run like okay. So what I do is around Silverado Park, I would do 2 laps, which would like always be like a mile and a quarter, and my pace would be like 7:30, 7:40, like every time. And then I'm like, okay, like so then my whole thing is like, okay, maybe the reason why I can't like run longer distances is because like I'm just running too fast, and maybe I just need to slow down, and like slow
Yeah.
down, and like just like that'll increase the distance and stuff like that.
Why don't you head down over to the beach, and because you won't have, because your end point is so soon. Like if you're just running around Silverado Park, you're like your checkpoints are just like if you want to make 2 laps or 3 laps, 4 laps, right? You're just gonna see the same thing over and over. Why don't you try something different, like going down to the beach, starting at like the peninsula or at Bayshore in Belmont Shores, and just run that bike path there. And it just and like because if your endpoint will be basically in downtown Long Beach, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a 4 to 5, depending where you stop, 4 to 5 mile one-way trip.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to push yourself to try to run 4 one way, take a Uber back for the first time, then maybe do that. Or if you want to push yourself to do 8 miles, and then you can do that. But at least you have to keep pushing to get to point B.
Okay. So that's probably why, because like I did feel like I was like being like bottlenecked by like this idea of 2 laps. Like maybe I was just like getting too used to like to the route that I was taking, I guess. So yeah, maybe that
Yeah,
whole.
just
Mm-hmm.
switch up your scene. Even if you want to run through a different neighborhood, like if you want to run through Bixby Knolls or California Heights or Bluff Heights or East Side Village or yeah the Art District, like or at the beach from Belmont Shores to downtown, then or or shoot, like run uh like Milliken High School to, or no, like McBride High School to Cal State Long Beach. Like you can always see the pyramid. That's where like change up your routes. For me, one of the more boring routes is running on the river. Like the San Gabriel
Right.
River. That doesn't work for me. But yeah, seeing different things works.
Okay. Yeah, that's funny. Cause like I always thought about doing that, but then I always thought, what the heck do I do at the end? Cause like I'm like I'm tired as heck. I'm like in the middle of like nowhere where I don't know where I stopped. I'm like, but is that Uber thing like a common thing?
Yeah,
Oh
that's
really?
completely fine. Yeah. Yeah,
Wow.
one
Okay.
time, when we had a run club, we ran from Bluff Heights. No, yeah, we ran from Bluff Heights down to Huntington Beach Pier, which was like 13 miles. We were training for a full marathon, but we knocked out a half marathon like 2 weeks before our full marathon. And what we did, and we set it up for like a early morning run. One of us drove our car to Huntington Beach, uh, and then we drove back to our starting point. We left the car there, and then we ran, and at least we knew we had a car. But that was in like 2012. I don't remember if Uber and Lyft were around, but now if I knew that I had the option of just taking a Lyft back, shit, I'd just do that. Or I mean, you could take the Long Beach Transit, and it's free with your Cal State Long Beach ID. So. You could just take that back down ocean.
True. Okay. Huh.
Oh yeah, run. Yeah, just find a point that's your endpoint, like the lighthouse. That's a nice endpoint. Or run over Rainbow Bridge and go to the Queen Mary. That's a nice endpoint. Yeah, or run the new bridge that was just built
Oh.
in yeah off of downtown and Ocean.
Okay. Do you bring anything
Yeah.
with you during runs? Like just like what, water, or no?
Longer runs, yeah, water or like that run I was just telling you about that we set up. We place water at specific location. Just we
Really?
strategically put like a large bottle of water somewhere, kind of hid it so we can drink. Oh, and then like little what like little food bars or the like the gummy foods. I already forgot what they're kind of called, but they give you like they resource you with vitamins and energy. So in the middle of your run, you can kind of feed yourself. Goo packs, those kind of things. That's for the longer runs. But if you're doing like a 4 to 7 mile run, like you probably don't need anything.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I see you. I see your positive posts right before you run or right after you run, man. So keep that up, and keep making the runs longer.
Yeah. I'll try. Yeah, cause yeah, I don't know. I do get inspired by, by the people that do get to run those marathons. When I run my 1.25 mile, and I look at these people that have done these 26 miles, like, god damn, like, how do they do that? But
Yeah.
yeah, I'll definitely see about that.
I I cried when I finished. I didn't cry. I teared up a little when I finished my first full marathon. I was like, I can't believe I did that. Oh my God. I was in pain. I was like, oh, yeah.
um, is it okay? So you ran the whole thing, or is there like a walk thing like that's just common, or like what? Like, is it
Um, a lot of people will train to run the whole thing, right?
okay?
Um, but I mean, you do it for when you do a marathon, you do it for yourself. Or I mean, there's marathons where you're doing it with the thought of somebody because there's like a cancer awareness type of run, right?
Right.
So, but like you're basically typically you're doing it for yourself. So you just if you feel like you need to walk, you walk. My first marathon, it was in Hawaii. I was at like mile 17. It was crazy hot. I was dying, and I actually literally stopped. I found this. We were running over a bridge. I literally stopped, sat on the edge of the bridge, and just enjoyed looking at the ocean and the sun. I was, I was thinking like, maybe I'm done. I don't know if I want to do this finish. This is my spot. People are just passing by me behind me. Um, but eventually, Fariza came running back. She's like, "Where'd you go? I didn't know where you were." And I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess I gotta finish." Then I finished the run. It was
Okay.
hell, but I mean, and then the ones after that became a little easier. But yeah,
I guess I have to
so
aim for a marathon.
just go ahead and build up to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wouldn't advise what I did and just go straight into a marathon.
Right.
Yeah, because if it wasn't for the beauty of Hawaii, it was basically hell running that thing. Yeah.
26 miles. Oh man.
Point two.
Point. Right. Wait,
Point
is
two.
that a joke with the? Is that like a emphasized thing in the running community?
You can't discount any step you take in that damn run. Yeah.
uh, Okay. All right.
Yeah. But yeah, man. Well,
Yeah. Well, thank you for agreeing to come on. I know it was out of the blue that I asked that if you wanted to
hmm
come on, but
very much so. When I saw the bubble, it was you. I thought you were just like, hey, how's basketball or something? I don't know. But then you're like, "Want to on my podcast?" Like, what the fuck? But
right.
this was a lot of fun. I'm glad we got to catch up. And like I was saying earlier, like I thought very highly of you even as a kid. Right? I really thought like you were one of the brighter players on the team, someone I could really trust. And I'm I'm happy to see you like turned out to be. I still can think highly of you. Still a really good kid. And now my peer because you're a fucking adult. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that makes me really happy. That I was that you saw me like that. Despite what I said earlier about like being confused as hell on some of the plays.
Yeah, you should have not have admitted that because I take some of that back. I was like, this whole time I was like, if hey, Gabriel gets it, guys, why can't you?
I when it well one of my okay wait okay but despite that I did try really hard to try to uh be the places and try to make it work. Yeah. Even out of practice, I was trying to discuss with the other guys, like, guys, like, what is it that like we're doing wrong? Because like I was like, okay, coach is telling us to do this. Like, why isn't it working out for us? Like here we know like how to play, and like like why isn't it like clicking with us? And I was always trying to work, but I don't know. I think I wasn't able to solve it back then. Yeah. But yeah. Hmm.
If so now, if Muir needed a coach and if I'm not I'm not available, would you take it? You think you could coach kids?
Coach kids. Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh man, that would be tough. I mean, I don't know. Like, but one thing that if I were to take it, it would be because of like what you said like earlier about like providing that structure of like organized like play for those kids, like to give them that opportunity to like maybe possibly form that brotherhood with like other teammates, and like to work together to a common goal. Like, I mean, that's the coolest part that I see in it, and it seems like a lot of fun for me. It seems like it would be an honor, honestly, to be able to be in a position like that. So
Mm,
yeah.
totally. Yeah. You said it right. It does feel like an honor to like start with you guys and start with and we all of us got to start the Muir program for the rest of the community that comes through that area, so yeah.
Yeah. Well, I want to thank you, Benji, for making that shot in high school. Getting into that organized ball. Getting into Cal State Long Beach, being in that, kinesiology major, and being in that position to accept that job from Muir because you made a lot of difference to a lot of those kids, to a lot of us, and I want to thank you for all your hard work,
Well,
um, as a starting coach, and and all that stuff.
I'm just glad you remember my name, man, so no problem.
Oh yeah, you were definitely one of the fun teachers that that we had. So we can't forget about you. We still talk about you, um, and I'm sure the other guys have a bunch of things that they'd like to tell you too. So definitely come out to ball that
Cool.
when we during that late summer sometime.
Definitely, of course. You know what? Actually, you know what I'll do? We'll rent a court. I'll rent a court for us, and we'll
Really? Yeah.
so we can so because I'm afraid of scraping my knees outdoors, so like if I fall, I'm an old man, so the possibilities of falling is very likely. So.
Really? All right. I mean, yeah, I'll definitely. That makes it more enticing. You have your own
But
court.
I'll meet you guys at Silverado just for the nostalgia.
Okay. Yeah, definitely. They fixed up the courts there a little bit too, so they have some nice lights, better lights there. So looks a little bit more nicer.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good.
All right, Benji.
But
I'll talk to you sometime. We have to talk about other things that those ideas we were talking about earlier, and all that good stuff.
yeah, totally. Thanks for having me, man. This was a lot of fun. Really cool.
No problem. Thank you for coming on. So yeah, so I guess that'll end up as the end of the 5th episode of the Gabriel podcast. I got to have a great talk here with my former basketball coach Benji, and I hope you guys enjoyed. So have a good night. Peace.
Peace.